On the sidelines of President Donald Trump's first ever state visit to India, I'm joined by a very special voice from Prime Minister Modi's team. The Honorable Oil Minister of India, Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan, joins me for an exclusive chat. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
You had a very interesting meeting with the US Energy Secretary. How did that meeting go, and what does that meeting mean for the future of energy cooperation between the two countries?
People have already started mentioning for the future relationship between India and USA will be based on energy cooperation. I'm happy. Yesterday I had a very fruitful meeting with Secretary Burett, and today during the discussion with both the leaders, I was party to that discussion. I was witnessing that discussion. Lot of enthusiasm are there from both the side, from the government level, from the corporate level, from the official level. Lot of energy cooperation things are we're talking and we're engaging with each other on the investment front, on the technology front, on the trading front. This is all-round engagement on energy with USA today.
Okay, we'll take it bit by bit on all those angles. First and foremost, India's imports from the US, oil imports from the US, have jumped tenfold in the last 3 years, 2 or 3 years, however you may put it, from 2017 onwards, ever since India started buying more oil from the US. The number stands at 260,000 barrels today. How much can it scale up by?
You see, today you're talking about tenfold. I am talking about a different perspective. It was zero. In 27 it was zero. For the first time, when America took decision to export its energy, India decided to buy crude oil, sell crude oil from America. Since last 3 years, our total energy transaction from both the side, our import and export putting together, our trade size is $7.7 billion. Last financial year. This financial year it will go up to $9 billion. And today, within our trade balance sheet, 11% is energy. Mm-hmm. We are not only limiting our energy engagement only up to oil or LNG. We'll be escalating our energy engagement towards metallurgical coal, towards the renewable energy equipments, technology, ethanol, and all around. There will be a bigger energy basket size from different energy sources from America in near future.
But given the fact that India's energy demands are only likely to increase exponentially over the course of the next few years, and the fact that because of the tensions in the Middle East, given what's happening in Iran, in Venezuela, India is looking to diversify its sources. I want to understand how much can the US step up to help India?
As I said, since last year, this is a major shift towards the US market.
But you discussed no numbers with the US Energy Secretary?
Because it's a business level meeting, it's at a policy level. In our comprehensive energy partnership, we have decided to, on policy level, we have decided to increase more. But it's up to supplier and consumer issue. Our company are keen to take, and they are also, all the companies are taking oil from American market, LNG from American market. And our steel company, those who are using metallurgical coal, they will import metallurgical coal from America. But at a principal level, we have decided to increase our engagement. Consciously, India has took this route. We want to diversify our energy sourcing.
Okay. But it can get into double digits, sir. Right now it's at $9 billion.
I am hopeful it will increase in multifold.
Multifold. So clearly,
oh, yes.
10 billion and beyond. Could it be 15 to 20 billion also at one point in time?
I hope if it is going to be 9 billion in 1920 financial year, certainly it will be more in 2021.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to understand the direction, sir. Do you think indicatively, and I'm not looking for a specific number,
I don't spell numbers because I don't do direct business. I am in charge of policy. My policy is, both the leaders are very clear. In near future, energy engagement between two countries will going to increase.
Did you share concerns with him regarding the sanctions on Iran and Venezuela, which is disrupted supplies for India, part of it. Not a lot, because I know India gets a lot of it from Saudi Arabia and Iraq, but some part of it, of course.
We are importing our requirement from the different part of world. On LNG front, we are importing LNG from Australia, where Qatar is our old source. We are importing LNG from America, we are importing LNG from Russia. I think from all the major producer country, we are importing crude oil, LPG. So India's strategy is to have multi-source. So today we have to appreciate the geopolitical challenges.
Yeah.
Being a major consumer of the world today, we are more responsible, so our producers are also responsible. They are looking into our requirement, and India is committed to give energy accessibility to all its citizens. Prime Minister Modi has a great vision of energy justice.
Sure.
We will fulfill our strategy through 5 pillars. Energy accessibility to all our citizens. Energy must affordable. Energy must be sustainable. It should be clean, because in the energy transition, globe is concerned about global warming, the climate change. India is not the major energy pollutant. Another pollutant country. Still, my Prime Minister, as a responsible global leader, is committed for a cleaner energy path. So, energy sustainability is our major strategy, and through all such things, energy security is our priority area.
Yeah.
And efficient use of energy infrastructure, energy network is another important area of our strategy. Putting all together, we are committed to giving energy justice to our consumer, our people.
Okay. Coming back to US supplies, logistics is a problem. I know you're looking at increased demand from the US. I discussed with the US Energy Secretary about port infrastructure. Can that be overcome?
Oh yes, today it's not a major challenge.
Okay.
1.5 years back it was a challenge for crude oil, but it is not, it is already, America is creating major facility upgradation in their area, in their part of the, primarily in the pipelines, in the port facility, in the terminals. And some years back, last decades, they are concentrating on regasification terminals. Now they are building a huge liquefaction terminals. So America is very fast to create energy transportation infrastructure, logistic infrastructure, and we are confident they will cope up with the global need.
Since you brought up the subject of renewable energy and the responsible behavior that the government is showing towards clean energy, the US at 13 million barrels per day is the largest producer of oil, but the administration there is facing a lot of challenges and backlash on the fracking process, the fracking operations, shale technology. What do you have to say about it? Did that come up in your discussions?
No, I don't get into my friend's issue. I am concerned about my domestic market, my requirement. How can I give energy justice to our citizens? That's my Prime Minister's vision. That's my responsibility he has given to me.
Sure.
From Indian point of view, I think India is going to be a major renewable energy producer in the world today. Our target is to achieve 175 gigawatt of renewable energy by 2022. Out of that, 100 gigawatt will be come out from the solar energy. By 2030, our target is to ramp up to 450 gigawatt. So this is the robust renewable energy strategy from our side. We are committed for a decarbonized economy, more greener path, more cleaner path. By April 1st, we will be supplying to our market BS6 standard of transportation fuel, which is equivalent to Euro 6, which is one among the cleanest fuel on the transportation industry today. So we are committed to have a more cleaner and greener pathway for our economy.
What about joint exploration activities like the one India is engaging with Russia on in the Arctic region? Was that on the table? Especially in domestic shores? Because energy independence is also your target.
Last 5 years, we have done lot of reform for our domestic augmentation in production, be it crude oil, because now in crude oil production there is a saturation point we have achieved now in Indian E&P industry. We are more concerned, more concentrating on how to ramp up our oil production. in near future, India is going to double its gas production, domestic gas production. To have more gas production, we have lot of domestic reform. Now, if I can cite one policy reform, years before, our strategy was to how to maximize the revenue out of oil and gas production. Today, there is a paradigm shift. Now we are concentrating on who can maximize our production. Production maximization strategy, revenue earning is not the strategy. That's the paradigm shift we have today. We are creating more joint venture, more OLAP rounds, more bidding rounds. That's a priority for us, and lot of BP is already in our E&P industry. Shell is looking into our assets. Total is looking into our assets. One of the oil majors from America, Exxon Mobil, have a memorandum of understanding with one of our major oil producers in our country, state-owned company ONGC, and Exxon Mobil have a MOU on more E&P activities. So all those who are in energy business of the globe, they are gradually moving towards India, because India is going to be the #1 consumer by end of this decade. Every energy trader, energy entrepreneur, energy corporates, they are moving towards India.
That indeed is the case. Just because it's in the news, I want to address this issue. The US has imposed sanctions on Rosneft's trading unit. Indian companies do business in Venezuela as well. Are you engaging with companies on compliance issues with regards to those sanctions?
Yes, we have investment in both the countries, and we will be continuing to have our business in Russia. Russia is a very dependable and old ally of Indian energy cooperation, and we are continuing to do that.
Venezuela, sir?
Yes, Venezuela, we have some investment. We have taken a policy wait and watch. Let us see how things are unfolding. We have to cope up the global challenge also.
Right. Talking about global challenges, coronavirus is expected to dent global energy demand because China is getting impacted by it. When I asked the US Energy Secretary about what drives his confidence that the US will be able to do 13 million barrels per day this year and increase that output target for next year, he said growth in India and the US. You think India can compensate for the loss of demand coming in from China? Because these are two economies that share the same demographics.
No, all the major analysts of the world are saying India is going to grow 4.2% ratio up to 2035. This is the growth we have. This is the trend we have. Today, our per capita consumption is 1/3 of the global average. It is bound to increase. That's the growth it's all indicating. As I said, today India is the #3 energy consumer. By the end of the decade, India is going to be the #1 energy consumer of the globe. So looking into all this aspirational demand, any producer, any entrepreneur would certainly like to be hopeful on Indian market. And the kind of transparency, the kind of reform, kind of ease of doing business we are developing in our market, we are facilitating new entrepreneurial model, new corporate tax reduction policies are there. We are putting red carpet to investors. Lot of FDI are coming to India. Today, for global scenario, globe is facing through different challenges. With all such things, for the global investor, India is one of the favored destination.
Last two questions, sir. One is OPEC's demand outlook projection. They're saying sub 1 million barrels per day. Is OPEC missing the bigger picture?
I don't want to get into this debate. I am the consumer. OPEC is primarily a club of producers. Yes, I am happy.
But you are aware that there's always this comparison between whether OPEC's dominance in the market has changed with the US emerging as a #1 producer.
I think globe is changing. Now there is a concept OPEC plus. And putting together OPEC and OPEC plus, they are around 50% of the global production. 50% is out of this club. So, and country like India is very open on one issue. We want to diversify our source. So with all this strategy, with all this new approach, the demand and supply is a issue, primary issue, agreed, but it's dynamic.
What does that mean net for oil prices? My final question.
I'll be more than happy if it will be reasonable and responsible.
But do you think the world is moving in that sort of a paradigm where oil prices, there's more reason for oil prices to remain subdued than to go higher?
No, I am not of this opinion. Oil price should not fall in a very drastically.
Sure, but between $50 to $60?
Yes, it should be responsible. For India, I will be happy if it will be 50 to 60 bandwidth. But sometimes it's very challenging for the producing country in a low oil price. We have to look into, as a responsible consumer also, my responsibility to have a balanced viewpoint. I should not expect oil price should be 30, 35, should be 40. It will long term hamper, with the short term also it will hamper to the market. It should not be. Price should be stabilized, price should be predictable, price should be reasonable. These are the fair expectations we have as a consumer to the producer friends, and they are gradually OPEC, OPEC plus, and major producing countries are appreciating this point of view.
Sir, thank you very much for joining us and giving us your
Thank you.
perspective and your insights on the Indian energy market.
Thank you.